And good morning, this is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor. I'm glad that you've joined me. I love it when you guys come in. We're having a cup of coffee and sitting down and talking about finances and business. It's a great day, by the way. Now, my biggest concern. I'm talking to a lot of small businesses out there. These small businesses are having a real tough time. Their cash flow is covering barely their expenses. They're seeing a lack of interest in small business because, well, let's face it, the majority of Americans don't have the cash to spend anymore. Families have sat down and gone over their budgets over and over and over again. And now they're at the point where they just have no more money to spend. So that affects small businesses, the small restaurant, the small accountant, the small beautician, the small haircut place. People are waiting much longer to get their haircuts. And I will admit to you right now, I do the same thing. Cash flow is a big concern with everybody out there at the moment. When you look at your money coming in, then you look at all of your expenses that are going out. And of course, the high priority ones, of course, are your rent or your home mortgage, your car payment so that you can get to work to make any money, your utilities, the food, and the other small things that are needed to run a normal household. All the other stuff, all of the nice stuff like going to a movie or going out to dinner, those have all been put to the side because individuals just cannot afford it. We know what our budgets look like, right? It's money coming in, your W-2s, if you have any investments, whatever, that is your money coming in. Then you look at all of your expenses. 67% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck, which means that they have no money left over. So in communities that rely upon small business, the small business guy is really hurting. So I encourage every single one of you, if you're going to the big Walmarts, if you're going to the big stores like that, take some time and dedicate your spending to these small businesses because they truly, truly need your help. Their cash flow is just about gone. So we need some help. As a small business guy, I run my small business out of my home. Thank goodness. I used to, in Los Angeles, I had a huge office with about 16 employees that were all tax accountants and attorneys and professionals like that. That was very costly. Several years ago, I decided I don't want to do that anymore, and I decided I just want to focus on being a good business advisor and a good coach, and do my podcast and do the stuff that I really enjoy. Mediation. I love meeting with people and solving problems that is solvable. But my small business survives every month, and that's what I mean. The key word is survive. And it survives only because I have to work harder than ever before to make money. And every small business is in the same boat. They have to work harder to make the money that they used to before. There are times where I have clients that will call, Mike, I just can't afford you anymore. So the revenue that I once had is gone because they just cannot make it any longer with their cash flow. So that affects my cash flow. Happens all the time. And billing, when you bill your clients now, sometimes it's 30 days, sometimes it's 60 days, sometimes it's 90 days. Unfortunately, you have to keep paying your bills. So you're scrambling every single month to be a collector and bring that money in. Small businesses have it tougher because they do most of everything by themselves. So small businesses are trying to focus on their communities. And remember, in the past, small businesses are the ones who put money towards the Little League or to the football or to something that had to do with kids in the community. But that's changed also because they just don't have the money to kick in to be a sponsor of these really good programs out there for kids. So what do? Well, for one thing, do not listen to any politician out there that is telling you that the economy is good, because it's not good. We have what is called a black swan. If you don't know what a black swan is, that is an event that could happen at any given time, but we don't know when it's going to happen. So all of a sudden, in comes this big old black swan, and we've got an event that affects us financially in the economy itself. And we have a whole bunch of black swans out there at the moment that are circling us round and round and round up there in the sky. We have a banking system that is undercapitalized, which means they don't have enough cash in the bank to cover a run, if there should be a run on that bank. We have banks, over 60, almost 100 and some odd banks that are so close to going under that money in those banks are risky at the moment. That's why I've always told you, spread your money out into 2 or 3 banks. So if one fails, at least you have another place to go to. But we have that black swan, and it's the banking industry. And the reason why it's getting tougher, because we have a commercial real estate market that is up for renewal at the moment to get their loans redone. They have loans that have come due, and they've got to be able to refinance those loans. But they can't. Why? Because now their properties are upside down. In other words, the value of that property is below what their loan is. That's what we call an upside down loan. And the reason why they're that upside down is because tenants have left the building. So they have no revenue to support the loan. That's why so many are now being repossessed or being sold for way low. Like, I'll give you a good example. New York City, 2 years ago, a building sold for $60 million. It's up for sale right now for $5 million. That's how bad it is. And they had to give it away because the economic time just is not supporting that building anymore. So what are they going to do with that building? Well, for $5 million or $6 million, whatever they paid for it, they can do a lot with that building. Just get enough tenants in there to support the loan payments. Or turn it into a residential building, which is the other talk that's going on at the moment. But it's very difficult to change over a commercial building into a dwelling for people to live in. So we have this banking situation, which I am very nervous about. The other issue is that foreclosures on homes have gone up. Credit card debt has gone up, which means that there could be a lot of bankruptcies going on in the next few weeks and months. We have a national debt where our interest on the debt is more than the budget of the Pentagon. I mean, we can go on and on with all of these swans circling us that could drop at any moment, where we can no longer finance, we can no longer buy, we can no longer have a lot of different things that will affect us personally in our personal finances, in our small businesses, that we should be prepared for. That's why I keep doing all these podcasts on this subject, because I'm highly concerned. So, isn't it amazing how we had such a good economy there for a while, and then all of a sudden it's gone? And it's gone because politicians, both in the Democratic side and the Republican side, have made some really bad spending decisions in the government. We're overspending, and our tax revenue is no longer enough to pay for our debt or pay for our expenses. So now they're talking, listen to the candidates. Some of the candidates are talking about raising taxes. I know Kamala Harris says, yep, you need to raise those corporate taxes. Well, you raise those corporate taxes, what does that do? That gets passed on down to you and I, the consumer. So that means inflation goes back up. So we're in a problem. We're in a tough situation. So we've got these black swans up in the sky, looking down to see when it's going to drop. And when it drops, it's going to come down on a thud. And it's going to be felt by everyone. So small businesses are really having a tough time at the moment. So I encourage every single one of you, if you can support your small business, please do. They need your help very badly. Who would have thought that we would ever be conditioned that we now have to look at every single penny that we spend? I was in Fry's the other day, and I was buying some, not Fry's, but, I forget what the name of the store was, but I was at a store, okay? It was some store. Smith's, that's what it's called, Smith's. And I was picking up my stuff, and so I decided, all I want to do is spend this amount. So I got out my calculator, and I began adding in all the prices of everything that I had purchased, or that I wanted to purchase. I had to put some back because it went over my budget for that day. Never had to do that before. Never had to worry about what we were going to spend. Because we had enough cash flow that covered everything. We had a good economy that brought in new business to us all the time. Now, we have to go out and we literally have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard, in order to make enough money to survive in this economy. But, don't give up. Because it is going to get better. But it takes you and I working together on businesses, on helping each other, giving each other good insight and good views and maybe some ideas on what they can do better for their business. And vice versa. Because we need to be able to help each other in this type of economy. That's the only way we will survive. We will make it through this. I guarantee you, we will make it through. I've been through this before. I've been through a recession before where it was tough. And everybody was crying. We were sitting in lines, long lines, to get gasoline. And sometimes we had to go back to work because it just took too long to get gasoline. And we went to an odd even day. If you remember those days, remember, we might get there again. But we're going to have to work together, and we're going to have to make sure that small businesses are supported. People have side gigs, they're supported. People who have main flowing jobs, they're supported. It has to do with us in our communities. Because if you want to make change, you've got to start within your communities. That's the only way that we can do it. If your community is strong, you can make a nation much stronger. I think that's about it for today. Listen, this is Mike Lodge. I know I come back and I talk about this subject time after time after time, but it's so important that you and we work together. If you want to know more about my company, go to www.lodge-co.com. If you want to send me an email, send it to mlodge, M-L-O-D-G-E, at lodge-co.com. I'm here to help you out. God bless. Talk with you soon. Bye.